So I'm really excited. I have with me today such an important topic on my Facebook Live. I'm with Sarah, Salisott.
Yes.
So welcome, Sarah. Sarah's actually in Wisconsin, and she is a PCI certified parent coach. Your dogs came back in to
There she
join.
comes.
Um, Sarah, this is such an important interview today. You're touching on such an important topic. You're a parent coach. And I really want you, as I told you offline, I don't want to screw up all of this because it's important. It's important terminology. So I want you to explain to everybody what you do as a certified parent coach.
Absolutely. So, first of all, thank you for having me on today. But as a parent coach, I work with parents that are struggling. And specifically, the majority of my clients are biological parents whose children are currently in the foster care system or have recently reunified. And I work with them on parenting skills and understanding about attachment and trauma, and we also do some parent-child interactions as well.
So we're going to break this down because I want people to really, I mean, it's so important. The kids ended up in foster care for numerous reasons. So
Absolutely.
give us some reasons why a child would have ended up in the foster care, and
Mhm.
then let us understand how then they end up or can end up back with a biological parent in reunification.
Absolutely. So you hit the nail on the head. There's so many reasons why children can end up in the foster care system. It can be mental health struggles, either the parents or the children. It can be behavioral challenges of either the parents or the children. It can be substance abuse struggles. It could be abuse. It could be neglect. It could be uh, situations that are screened in by the hospitals. So maybe there was an injury.
Mm.
And so it can be a wide variety of reasons, or really any combination of that subset. And it truly has to be substantiated for the children to be taken into out of home care. It's not something that's taken lightly.
No.
And then the goal is always reunification for as long as it possibly can be. So the court and all of the services are working to upskill the parents so that the children can safely return home, which obviously doesn't always happen. Adoption from foster care is also pretty frequent, but the goal really is reunification and helping those parents with the skills and the understanding and the supports so that the children can be home safely.
And you're in Wisconsin, and you
Mhm.
had shared with me that you, through your resources, and please give right off the bat how people find you.
Absolutely. So I can be found online. I have a website, thefosterlane.com. I can be found on Facebook and Instagram under the Foster Lane as well. I will say I'm more active on Facebook than I am on Instagram. My website does have my blog. It has 60 some odd posts about it. Started as my personal journey
Mhm.
through being a foster parent and then adoptive parent to a wonderful teenage girl. And it's kind of morphing into just the foster care system in
I
general.
mean, I got to do some research last night, and it's an amazing resource. And what my question was that because you're in Wisconsin and so many,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm fortunate to have a lot of people who, on my own social media, who are in Michigan, but also elsewhere. The resources on your website are great resources for anyone. But I, I would imagine that the laws are different, how from state to state, how a child is taken into the foster care system, and how the reunification system is also.
Yeah. So I would say yes and no. There are absolutely federal guidelines that
Okay.
stipulate what is required, the time frames for reunification, the timeline, generally speaking, is if the child's been in out of home care for 15 of the last 22 months, then the court needs to start working toward permanence, whether that be guardianship, adoption, or reunification. So that's going to be a general guideline that it's a rule. But different counties even have different processes around what that looks like. So I do the majority of my work with Rock County in Wisconsin, and I live and foster out of Milwaukee County.
Okay.
And each agency kind of does things a little bit differently, but there are federal guidelines.
Okay.
And state.
What kind of tips or sort of things can you share with us that are helpful in this process that you go through with kids?
Absolutely.
And
So
parents, I guess,
Well, and you bring up an important point. The majority of my work is with parents
Mm-hmm.
because if parents can shape the way they respond, their children's responses will come in tow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the process of finishing my opt-in for my website, and it's going to be an excerpt from my book that's with the publisher right now. And the one that's going to be if you sign up for the newsletter, it is one of the tips that I have, and it's utilizing a feelings board. So, a lot of people people in general, but people in foster care as well, are not as in tune with their feelings and connected to their feelings. So it's writing down all of your feelings. I like to do the bathroom mirror because it's the spot everyone goes, and it's somewhere that you
Very
go
true.
privately.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take your time and really think about it, but you write down what you're feeling, whether it's happy, concerned, and excited. And then as your family sees it up there, they can check in with you and they can say, "Oh, I see you're feeling excited. What are you excited about?" And it opens up conversation that otherwise would not have happened. So that should be up on my website, I would say, in this next week. And I have charts that I've had created to help children kind of understand new feelings and label them as well.
How has, this is a question I just always have to ask right now. I mean, these last, I was saying 6 months, but God, we're so, so much longer into this. And certainly Wisconsin has been extremely impacted like Michigan has. How has this pandemic, COVID, really impacted what you do?
Sure.
And I say that because us parents, our stress level is extremely in a good situation, in a good economic situation, heightened. And so when you add any amount of mental challenges or alcohol and drug challenges or crime challenges, I've got to believe then you've added even more of an impact in what you do.
The pandemic has really impacted the foster care system because as states were shutting down and as the concerns were rising, a lot of in-person visits stopped. And in order for reunification to occur, you have to be able to prove that you can be safe and appropriate with your children. And how do you do that if you're only seeing them once or twice a week over Zoom? And there were challenges.
Wow. I mean, that's a box.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's such a challenge, and it like drew things out. And then a lot of court wasn't happening in person.
Mhm.
So, like, all of the timelines were really big struggles. And you hit the nail on the head. Parenting is hard. Parenting with mental health and AODA struggles and chronic poverty is almost impossible. And then you add a pandemic on top of it with people continuing to evaluate you, but won't see you in person anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a recipe for some really big struggles. So for my business, I did what everybody did. I changed to meeting most people virtually.
Mhm.
And when there's inconsistent internet and, just a lot of those different struggles, it became clear that some people did well virtually and some people I just have to meet in person.
Mhm.
So I reopened an office, and the people that I'm meeting in person are making much better progress.
And I would think so, but I also would wonder, does the pandemic highlight the situation to make it more negative for some of these kids? And I mean, I would imagine that with everything, it may not be the best light for some of these kids in the reunification, even though the goal is reunification. It's such a struggling time for parents. I mean, like I
Mhm.
said, in a good situation, and even though the goal is reunification, I mean, um, eh, parents, you want to believe want to be with their kids,
Mhm.
but it's just hard sometimes. I mean, it's hard in the good situation.
Mhm.
But then the converse is, how are these kids doing and coping, and what's their situation? Where are they?
Yeah. If we think about how you and I are doing in our relatively privileged bubbles of
Mhm.
being able to continue to work and continue to engage a little bit, and think about how hard it is for you
Yeah.
and I. And then imagine if you weren't able to see your children
Yeah.
and talk to them, and they weren't able to see you. And biological parents and their children, their interactions, there are challenges with them anyway,
Hmm.
because obviously the children came into out of home care. There was a trauma with that. Things may not have been great or were not great leading up to that. And then you add a pandemic on top of it. It's a perfect storm of just a lot of behaviors
Sure.
and a lot of struggles. And it leads a lot of people going, well, we should stop the visits because everything is just so hard for everyone. And it's kind of the direction you were sort of going.
Hmm.
And that's a really double edged sword, because a lot of times when that happens, foster children just stop talking about it and they hold it on the inside. And then either you don't know their internal thoughts, or it comes out as really explosive behaviors.
Is there something, and this is sort of a global question, are there organizations that, and especially this time of year, at the holiday, that the average person who might have the means or the care, is there something that we should be doing, or organizations we should be looking to try and help in our own communities?
Absolutely. So, a big part of what I'm doing right now at the holidays, and I'm doing this independently because it's my business, but I'm helping biological parents that I work with give gifts to their children. So many organizations give gifts through the foster parents or through the agency where there's already means to
Mhm.
provide gifts. And the biological parents who are struggling, they don't have the means. So I'm encouraging people to find organizations that are local to them that work with parents to help them give gifts to their children.
I love
Uh,
that. I love
yeah.
that. And I love that that helps a parent who can then connect with their own child, show that they absolutely do love them. And I think that the most important thing is that when they end up with you in their situation, what it says is, I am a parent struggling, I need help. Ultimately, I want to be with my kids. Um, I want what's best for my kids.
Mhm.
And so, in the hope of being able to do whatever I can, for my kids. I mean,
Exactly.
that is the goal. Again, how do people find you and get your resources? There are there are great sessions on your website and great blogs.
Mhm.
They're they're just great resources on it. If you're in Wisconsin, you can find you, but you can be helpful to anybody, and that's what I love. And I will say this: I'm looking forward to. I don't remember the date, but you and I are going to do a podcast as well.
Mhm.
So we're going to have a lot more time together, and we'll do a podcast, and it will come out later. But I'm so glad we got a few minutes live today. So where can people find you?
Absolutely. So the best place for people to find me is on my website, and that's www.thefosterlane.com. And don't mind my dog in the background fluffing the
This
pillow.
is what I love about like live. He's just having fun, and he's like, can you guys be done? Because I want attention.
I
And
want to I want to take a nap over
well,
here
and you know
is
what
what
I
she's
love?
doing.
I mean, anybody who knows me, we can't have dogs, so I just want to I
Oh,
just want to play with I'm
oh
like,
my
oh, can I
gosh.
come over? He's so cute. He's
She's
like,
such a sweet little pup.
He's like, I just want like attention, and I want to be,
Yeah.
hi, baby. So, okay, you're taking
Okay.
attention. You're taking
Um,
attention away, doggy.
I
Like,
know.
no.
So the website is thefosterlane.com, and there is a store, as you've mentioned, and it has 4 trainings. And one of them that I really encourage people to take a look at if they're interested in foster care is the 10 things you should have learned in pre-placement training but didn't. And I do that training quite a bit live for different groups as well. And then there's one on attachment that's really pared down. There's one on parenting styles, and there's one on trauma. So I always recommend people take a look because I don't have a lot of
Yeah.
availability to work with people one on one. I'm pretty booked up, but it's a great way to get some of that knowledge.
Well, that's what I love. The dog does not come with the training, but
I think she's
oh
in a
my,
couple of them, so
oh
maybe
my
she
God,
does.
she's so adorable. Oh my God, she made my day. Hello, baby. So, oh my God, Sarah, you are such a special person for doing what you do. It takes to, in my world, it takes someone really special to be able to be this kind of resource and have this kind of job. And so I appreciate you, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you
Absolutely. Thank
again.
you.
I look forward to talking with you. I think it's this month,
I think
doing a
so. The end
podcast.
of the
So
month.
I'll
Yeah.
see you soon to do that. And thank you again for spending this time with me today. Have a great
Absolutely.
day.
Thank you. You
All
as
right.
well.
See you soon.
Okay.
Bye
Bye.
bye.